Hi everyone, it's Miss Phillips again, joining you for a writing workshop today. Today is Monday, October 26th, 2020. The materials you will need for today's lesson are your writer's journal and a pencil. So if you don't have those items, go ahead and pause the video, collect your supplies, and then come back and push play. Our objectives for today's lesson are: I will explore and explain a focal text. We will recognize how writers connect to focal text by generating questions about the topic and answering questions about the topic. Then you will brainstorm questions about traveling west in the 1850s. Did you know that people moved out west about 150 years ago had grit? The people who moved out west about 150 years ago had grit. This means that they dealt with a lot of hardships, but they kept on going. Remember, it takes grit to keep on writing when it's difficult for us. The more we do it, the better we get at it. Today, I want to share a book with you that we will be reading for Writer's Workshop and during our interactive reading time. The story takes place in the 1850s. It's a true story of a young girl and her family as they moved to California. The book is mainly about her trip on a wagon train. The book is titled Along the Santa Fe Trail. Before we get started, I want you to think, what do you already know about California in the 1850s? Go ahead and pause the video now and jot down your thoughts to this question. Can you share your thoughts or your background knowledge and schema about the dreams that motivated people to leave the East Coast for California? What did people want? Pause now and answer this question in your own words. Did you answer this question? I hope that you did. Now that you've taken the time to answer these questions, let me tell you my thoughts. I know, as many of you may know as well, that in the 1850s, travel was probably pretty difficult. We did not have all the amenities we do now. Do you think we did? No, I didn't think so. Back then, they did not have cars, much less cabs or planes to get anyone from point A to point B quickly or efficiently. All travel was hard. The West was not yet developed. Anyone traveling that way did not know what to expect. This was the beginning of the gold rush. People dreamed of striking it rich and finding gold. Therefore, they were really motivated to migrate out west. Look at these illustrations from along the Santa Fe Trail. Notice the time and history, the modes of transportation that were used. People used horses and horse drawn wagons as a means of transportation. Everything they owned fit into these small wagons. Wild buffalo roamed prairies in huge numbers. People did not have electric stoves to warm themselves or cook, they used open flame. Take a moment now and study the pictures and the illustrations. Okay, now that you've seen the pictures in the book, what do you think it would be like to make that move? Take some time now to answer this question. So, what did you think? I'm pretty sure you came up with some interesting answers. Some of you may have said things like, the journey would have taken many days. They would have had to take a lot of food and supplies for the time that they spent traveling. They would encounter others making the same trip. They might even encounter hardships or danger along the way. The illustrations in the book help me imagine the journey and the hardships that the travelers faced. But I wonder how people got the information about the trip they were about to take. I realized that I can find travel information online now, but in the 1850s, information was much harder to get. The travelers must have had many questions before they began their journey. You will be writing to a museum or historical society to ask for information about traveling west in the 1850s. Today, you're going to be brainstorming questions about traveling west in the 1850s. You can ask questions in one of two ways: as if you were a traveler back in the 1850s and are getting ready for your journey, or as a present day student looking for historical information. Remember, the people who moved out west from the east in the 1850s had so much to learn. The purpose of brainstorming these questions is to find out more information about the topic. Now it's your turn. You will use the Writer's Notebook page 4.1 to create your own questions about traveling the West in the 1850s. Follow the directions to connect to the link for the assignment and turn your completed Writer's Notebook page 4.1 into Google Classroom as instructed. Do not forget that you can pretend that you are a traveler in the 1850s, or you can pretend you can act as a present day student looking for historical information when you're creating your questions. Thank you for joining me today.